Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Armourer. My name is Victor, as always, joined by Blue.
Hello, hello.
And from this point onwards, we won't be joined by Lexi because she managed to achieve Living Legend. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah. So she finally achieved Living Legend. It was kind of a known thing, right? Like I don't think anyone was doubting that she will reach Living Legend during the season. But it finally happened, and it's time to celebrate for some and time to mourn for others, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the people will rejoice. I mean, obviously, people not playing Lexi.
Yeah.
And the Lexi players will be a tad sad, and they'll try to move to Azalea, realize that she's not as good, and then try to figure out what deck they'll play next.
Yeah, I mean, she's not as good, but nothing is as good as Lexi, right? So
Indeed.
it may just be good enough. Okay.
Moving onwards to the Dallas calling, Battle Hardened calling, everything that happened in Dallas.
Yep. Yeah, so the top 8 was not very diverse, right? It had 4 Dromice, 3 Lexi, and Singular Dash. This is, in a way, a strange event because it is the first event, I think, that Dromai does well in, right? Like most of the events that we've seen Dromai, like even the previous calling.
Yeah, the conversion rate was very different.
Yeah, the conversion rate was very bad, and they had only one Dromai in top 8. And the conversion rate here, as we'll see, I believe. I don't know, maybe.
Is there a meta breakdown? There should be. There you go.
Yeah, here we can see the conversion rate matches Lexi's conversion rate, which is very, very good. And obviously in top 8 they get like more than Lexi, and Dromai wins the tournament. And I believe this is also Dromai's first big tournament win, like something like calling. And yeah, some people like a lot of the Dromais were running the new cards, both the Tome and the new Ash, and we'll cover this later. But maybe those cards pushed her enough to where she can finally start being consistently converting and putting people in top 8s. But then again, we still have to see, right? Like this is the only event she has done this in.
I am very surprised that there was one mechanologist to make it to top 8 only. That means that people are not trying the new builds enough, because as far as I'm aware, this dash was like an older build. It had nothing to do with the newer cards.
No. I mean, like the dude is a mechanologist main, right? Like he has been playing this for a long time, and he's been making good results in tournaments. And he was playing a bunch of the new cards. Obviously, Old Dash doesn't get to use like a lot of the new cards, but some examples are the zero cost boost cards. That kind of make your maximum velocity turns a little bit more consistent, and the biggest thing in Old Dash, I believe, is Twin Drive, the card that allows you to boost twice. Because
maybe I said things wrong. I meant it's the old dash that's Inventor Extraordinaire. It's not the new dash Flash or whatever. But yeah, in terms of new cards, obviously. Cards from the new set were included in the deck, but the hero is like the old dash that we all know and love.
I feel like the consensus right now is still that like old dash is just still the best mechanologist you can be playing, and I'm not sure if that's going to change after Lexi is gone. But a lot of people were very hopeful about the new dash because she can do like some pretty strong aggro turns, but we'll see if it's going to pay off in the post-World season.
Yeah, it will be very interesting, and I think that we'll have the results fairly soon. With all the ProQuests running around, a lot of people will experiment, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we already have like some ProQuests that have concluded. We have a bunch of Uzuri wins, which is good, some Uzuri representation.
That's very nice.
But yeah, there's like a lot of things left. The Battle Hardened, it was sealed, I believe, into your top 8 draft or something like this. We have a Dash database, which is very good. Like from what I've heard, the Dash database was like first in Swiss. So that means
really new and refreshing, because last time we were looking at limited tournaments, it was just Teklovosens and Maxes all the way in top 8.
Yeah, like in top 4 it's still just like Max and Teklovosens, but this time Teklovosen wins. But it is cool that we start actually seeing people figure Dash out and start playing her and actually do very well with her. Because if we look at the percentages right here, like still Dash is like very, very underrepresented. So like especially in drafts, maybe it's going to be kind of like fairly easy to find her cards. But I don't know.
Well, if in draft, if she's always open, I mean, her cards are open and people are focusing on Teklovosen and Max, that means that you can build quite a nice deck.
The thing with this format is that open doesn't really mean that much, because the amount of cards that can be used only by a singular hero is like fairly low, like very, very low. So yeah, but another interesting thing, I'm not sure if it was said here or I read it somewhere else, was that they said that the Teklovesen at the finals figured out that he would not be able to fatigue the Max, so he became aggressive and that's how he won. And this is also something very interesting, because a lot of people at the beginning of the format were talking about how the entirety of this format is just pick Teklovosen and fatigue, and that's it, like the unbeatable strategy. And we kind of see time and time again that that's not true, right? We saw like Max just win the previous tournament. We see here that the Teklovesen like concluded he cannot fatigue the Max. So maybe it's not.
Is it Teklovesen or Teklovosen?
I have no idea.
I think it's Teklovosen, and
yes.
I mean, it's things like that always trigger me. For instance, there's a relatively famous content creator that says Teklomechoid instead of Teklomechanoid, which always grinds my gears. So, yeah.
Yeah. Grammar Nazi issues.
Are we allowed to say Nazi on YouTube? I guess we just did. Yeah, right. Okay. So, in terms of the constructed play, were there like any cards that caught your attention? I know you mentioned a few of those, but I mean cards that people mostly have forgotten about, but we can see in the decks now.
Yeah, I have pulled out a few Dormai cards, because like Dormai was kind of the star of the show of this tournament. And Lexi is already going out, so it's kind of not really worth talking about her. And just to kind of give some credit to like the Dash, Twin Drive is just amazing in that deck, right? Being able to boost twice in a singular card gives you turns where with 4 cards you can play like 0 to 60 Twin Drive maximum velocity of a single blue, and that's like a 4-card 19, which is just insane in terms of value. And you can extract the same amount of insane value off of Twin Drive and High Octane. So yeah, like kind of Twin Drive with how powerful it is in these decks, it may remain at like 25 to 20 euro per copy, which is kind of sad for me, but it makes sense. And now for the Dromai decks, Cadaverous Contraband is something that a few of the players in top 8 were running. And this is quite an interesting card. And I believe people are mainly picking it for the mirror. And kind of like the majority of the techs are going to be for the mirror, right? Because as we saw,
going forward, there will be a lot of draw mice. It really gets us back to Arcane Rising. It was a really nice card when it comes to Arcane Limited, because it's a 6. Obviously, it is a popper. That's why they would use it in the mirror matches, and also it would allow you to return things like Rake the Ambers on top of your deck, which is very strong.
Yeah, and Rake the Ambers is amazing in the mirror, right? We have seen Cadaver's Contraband previously in decks like Reiner, in order to return his powerful setup cards like Blood Rush Bellow and so on. So yeah, this card is definitely interesting, right? It's seeing more and more play, and another one of the players was playing like the Draconic Toll that allowed him to banish from the graveyard to remove Frostbite against Lexi. But with Lexi going out, and I feel like that card's not going to see as much play. Next, Dust from the Chrome Caverns. This is the new Dust from the new set that gives that allows your Chromite to have no Phantasm. A lot of the players were kind of playing this as an answer to Bravo's Fatigue playstyle, instead of going for the old Legendary Gloves plus the Aura combo in the late game. They were going for some sort of Kurmai setups where you can attack with Kurmai without Phantasm, gain an action point, and then like continue attacking and go through bunch of poppers and kind of like force your opponent to discard like a large portions of their hand.
Well, it makes sense. Kurmai being one of the best dragons out there in the deck. I mean, one of the best rare dragons, not the majestic ones, but still. And the new Dust obviously is quite playable.
It is definitely quite playable. I'm personally not too sold on like this card just allowing you to win the Bravo matchup if they try to fatigue you,
but it helps.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's enough, right? Like a lot of these players decided that this is enough in that matchup, and it's going to be interesting to see in the future, especially after Lexi rotates out and the Bravo doesn't have to be playing like all these defense reactions, especially like the unmovables and so on, and he can like run maybe more poppers, maybe some more aggressive things. It's going to be interesting if this is going to persist in like the post-Lexi meta. Then we obviously have Tome of Imperial Flame, right? Like this is
moving to the heavy hitter. I think that's the card that actually won the final on the calling.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Barlagata called it first. He said the Tom won the game.
I mean, it's possible. Tome of Imperial Flame definitely is amazing in the mirror, because a lot of the mirror gets down to how much Ash you have, like your Ash economy, and Tome of Imperial Flame definitely helps in that regard. But on the other hand, against decks that are going to be attacking you, especially with some very tall attacks like Azalea, being stuck on like a tome or two with the Royal Helm is going to suck.
Defense,
yeah, and I believe we kind of saw some of that in the previous calling that we watched that was won by Azalea. But we're probably going to keep on seeing Tome of Imperial Flame be played in like every Dromai, especially if your expectation is that like half the tournament is going to register with Dromai and like at least half your games are going to be a mirror. then like Tome of Imperial Flame absolutely makes sense to play. Just like if for nothing else, just for the mirror.
Which means that the price will stay as high as always. So to all that got their tomes so far, congrats. For the rest of us, we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of early, right? Like it has not been that much time since the set release, and it's kind of like World's time, right? We've had like calling after calling, so a lot of people are like looking to purchase these, so the prices are higher. But maybe afterwards they may drop a little bit. We'll see, right? And kind of the bonus we get for having Majestics that cost 30 euro is that the legendaries now also cost 30 euro instead of like 130.
Which is very nice. I mean, at this point, game piece is very affordable. Yeah. No one can complain that it's Flesh and Blood's too expensive. No, it's not.
I mean, you can't stop people from complaining, but yes, it's definitely been getting more and more affordable. And lastly, the second place dude was playing Pursuit of Knowledge, and Pursuit of Knowledge is very interesting, right? Because a lot of these decks were playing like 5 blues or something like this, and if you want your blues to actually be threatening in any sort of way, I guess Pursuit of Knowledge is what you're going to be looking for. And I guess Pursuit of Knowledge may also be very good in the mirror, because it's going to allow you to just play this, kill a dragon, and then like have 5 intellect, like arsenal a card, have 5 intellect, then just play like a 6 card hand, which in the mirror may mean just like playing like 3 dragons and something else.
Yeah, just a lot of value.
Yeah, it's just an amazing tempo swing.
When it comes to characters that would actually play with allies, each and every card that says when this hits, and it doesn't say when this hits a hero, obviously it's an auto include if it has a nice effect. In this case, +1 intellect is amazing, so very playable.
Yeah, definitely. Like Dromai is one of the heroes that has close to no problems utilizing however many cards you give her.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's the same with like Cadaver's Contraband, right? Because it's like when this hits, it does not need to hit a hero.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah. And those are kind of like the more niche and interesting, and I guess new picks that we see in the top 8 decks.
Okay, well, it sounds about right. A lot of Dromais in top 8. Lexi gone. Actually, Lexi will be gone after the next announcement, so she's still eligible, and you can play it in all the pro quests until the next ban and restricted, right?
Yeah. Like she's going to be gone after the pro quest season, so just before Worlds.
Yeah, and New Horizon will be affordable again.
I mean, we're gonna play New Horizon, but I don't know.
It's for collectors, not for players.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, we'll see you at the next one.
Bye-bye.